HBMS Report. Reporting from Peppermint Forest, I'm Mr. Mint. Today we have an exciting story involving magnet status, one of my personal favorites. For the Candyland youngins, magnet status was first proposed by the American Nurses Association in 1990 to recognize healthcare organizations that provided quality nursing excellence. So what exactly is the hoopla behind magnet status? Let's go to Gumdrop Hospital and take a look. I drove down to Gumdrop Mountain Hospital to interview a magnet status nurse. This nurse is Princess Lolly. Why did you choose to work at a magnet status hospital, Princess Lolly?
Well, I just graduated from nursing school and I had to work at a magnet status hospital. We did a survey in nursing school and 86% of the magnet hospital nurses were very satisfied with the nurse-patient ratio, compared with 24% of non-magnet nurses. This same survey found that magnet nurses were satisfied with their unit policies on nursing, practice, and safety. It's been a pretty quiet day so far.
Oh my gosh! My wife, she's having a baby! We need some help! Can you help us? My wife's having a baby!
You're in the right place. This is a magnet hospital. Magnet status is based on 14 quality indicators known as the forces of magnetism. Most magnet hospitals utilize a shared governance model. Shared governance is an organizational paradigm based on the values of interdependence and accountability that allows nurses to make decisions in a decentralized environment.
Huh?
Basically, magnet status was developed to allow nurses to provide the best patient care and give them a voice in policy development.
Well, see, I told you it was a good idea for us to go hunting on the ridge over here. I brought you to a good magnet hospital.
So yeah, it's been good to talk. Princess Lolly here at Gumdrop Hospital. Now we're going to take a look at a smaller hospital across the ridge, and that's Candy Cane Forest Hospital. And they do not carry the certification of a magnet status, but they are a pretty good hospital, and we just want to see what they have to say.
Go.
We're at Candy Cane Forest talking to registered nurse Jolly Molasses. Why do you choose to work here? Is there anything different about magnet status versus non-magnet status?
Well, I actually just transferred from Candy Cane Forest because my husband, Gloppy Molasses, got a job driving the fertilizer truck. But I honestly don't see much difference between magnet and non-magnet hospitals.
Are there any advantages to non-magnet hospitals?
Well, if there are any, the only thing I see is that there might be a little better teamwork between pharmacy, OT, social services, that sort of thing. In fact, 65% of the nurses surveyed believed that non-magnet hospitals were better at interdisciplinary collaboration compared to 50% of the magnet nurses.
Wow, I think some of our viewers might be surprised by that. So are there many magnet hospitals in this region?
I need a nurse!
Oh my goodness!
I need some help. I think I have a concussion. Oh, hi. What kind of hospital is this? My friend Princess Lolly told me I could only go for help at magnet status hospitals.
Well, Candy Cane Forest is an excellent hospital. It might not have magnet status, but you know, even though patient satisfaction does rise a little bit at a magnet hospital, it's only by about 4%, so it's not very much. Trust me, you're in good hands here.
Okay. Hello, I'm Queen Frosting, nursing manager at Candy Cane Forest, and I've gathered you nurses here today at the Candyland County American Nurses Association meeting to discuss magnet status. There's been some discussion about magnet and non-magnet status hospitals, and I want to hear your input. But before we begin, I want to give you a little statistic. The number of magnet status organizations has doubled since 2003, with over 230 organizations currently designated as magnet status, and more than 250 hospitals in the process of becoming magnet status.
I think I might have read the same article that you did.
And what I found from this article was that even if you do not achieve magnet status, just the process of trying to get magnet status will improve the quality of your patient
So my
care.
first question is, how does magnet status apply to you as nurses? For example, nurse-to-patient ratios and safety.
I'm glad that you bring this up. When we did our survey, we surveyed nurses in magnet hospitals and in non-magnet hospitals, and we found that magnet status really impacted nurse-patient ratio and the perceived safety of the patients. 86% of nurses who responded to our survey that had magnet status said that they had a reasonable nurse-patient ratio, and that's compared to 24% with non-magnet status. And then also on the safety side of that as well, nurses that worked in magnet hospitals felt that their patients had.
So what are some challenges with magnet status that directly affect our job as nurses?
One question that we've been asking is, once hospitals attain magnet status, do they live up to the standard? For example, nurse-patient ratios are known to be low within magnet status hospitals, but after they've attained magnet status, do they keep those low ratios or do they increase them so that nurses in hospitals with magnet status are still doing the same workload as other hospitals?
That's a good point. In some of the surveys that I conducted, the nurses did say that they had some issues with some of their nurse-patient ratios, especially during busy times during the year. Like if the patient load increases, they don't necessarily increase the number of nurses that they have. So that's a problem that I think every hospital faces, whether it's a magnet status hospital or not. There are also other cultural things that happen with the nursing culture in magnet status. One of them is that magnet status hospitals really pride themselves on having a high level of certifications within their organization. And some of the nurses that were interviewed and surveyed said that they felt as though they were really encouraged and pushed into, you should get a certification if you work in pediatrics, you need to get certified in peds. If you work in ER, you need to have an ER certification. And they would go through all the work of getting the certification done, but they wouldn't get paid any more for it, and so they felt like sometimes they were being pushed into these certifications when really it wasn't benefiting themselves. I mean, like, the knowledge was beneficial, but just they didn't know if it was worth it. And so having different attitudes and stuff like that can really affect the nursing culture as a whole.
Like Jeannie was saying with the cultural portion and also about the cost of certifications, magnet status is associated with a very large expense. It's between $100,000 and $600,000 to get certified every year.
And that kind of relates to equity as well. The high cost of magnet status, is that fair for smaller hospitals if they cannot achieve magnet status because of the high cost?
So what skills do you think managers need to have for magnet status, such as shared governance, like what we're doing right now, allowing nurses to have a voice?
With that shared governance piece, usually they have unit councils where on a unit, people will elect 2 nurses, say, to represent their voice and then present concerns that the unit staff might have to management.
I think another important quality with that unit council is just listening to people on the floor and giving those nurses a voice, even if they aren't part of an organization like the unit council, and being aware of what's going on around us. For example, if we're having an issue with safety, just remembering to bring that up.
Yeah, I think some important things are just planning and organizing, because you're working with so many nurses that you need to organize things in a way that everyone has the equal voice, and that you're not just going to people out of convenience and that sort of thing, that you're keeping everything fair within your organization. And by doing that, you need to plan meetings when everyone can attend, or plan multiple meetings so everyone is able to go, and then just keeping everything organized just so everything runs smoothly.
So with those leadership skills that we addressed, it doesn't matter if your hospital has magnet status or not. Hospitals can help to implement some of these leadership categories.
So ladies, what is the take-home message here today?
I think the biggest thing is just because magnet status may be unattainable for some organizations or some hospitals just because of financial concerns, non-magnet hospitals still need to try to live up to the bar set by the magnet hospitals. They still need to encourage safety among their nurses, and they need to encourage their nurses to talk with their nurse managers, leaders, those sorts of things, so that just because shared governance isn't established in the organization officially, they still can have that say in how different things are done in their administration. And then also we just need to work to improve the overall quality of care that we give to patients, whether we're working in a magnet or a non-magnet hospital.
Now we are back at the studio at HBMS. We've looked at the exciting topic of magnet status. As Princess Lolly and Jolly Molasses shared, there are differing opinions on magnet status. I had the pleasure of talking with Grandma Gooey, the ANA spokesperson for Candyland County. She told me to leave you wonderful viewers with this message. Although non-magnet hospitals may not have the formal shared governance structures as magnet hospitals do, nurses everywhere should be encouraged to address the key issues with their nurse managers, team leaders, or administrators. Thank you for joining us on How About That Magnet Status. I'm Mr. Mint. Good day.